Hey, what's up, gang? Jason Gooden, of course, your friendly neighborhood realtor, found a really interesting article in Risk Media today. I was kind of scan through there and look for headlines and see if I can find anything that might be useful to you guys out there in the field, putting these deals together, making dreams come true. And today I found an article about escalation clauses, and it was pretty in depth. And I thought it would just take me a couple minutes to share it with you. So I'm going to click over and share this article with you, and hopefully it'll be useful to you either today or somewhere down the road. Who knows? How to use an escalation clause in a real estate contract. And again, this is a Risk Media article. I can link to the original article in the video description, probably down below somewhere. So, when real estate markets favor home sellers, it is not uncommon to see a variety of tactics used to make a buyer's offer more favorable. In a hot real estate market like we've had for the last 2 years, I would say, maybe longer, that features numerous bidding wars. Buyers need every edge they can get. One tactic that has become more and more popular among real estate agents is a real estate escalation clause. Escalation clauses are a common part of real estate contracts in a seller's market. The clause allows for an escalation in the price of a property if certain conditions are met. We will provide a detailed explanation of what an escalation clause is and how it works. What is an escalation clause in a real estate sales contract? An escalation clause says that a home buyer will outbid other offers on a home by a certain amount of money up to a specified ceiling price. The ceiling also gets called the cap price, or the highest you're willing to pay or bid. The amount of money you're willing to pay over the next highest bidder is called the escalator amount. Pretty interesting. How does an escalation clause work? In order to see how escalation clauses work, let's look at an example. A home that you love is listed for $600,000 and you want to make an offer on it. You put in a bid for $610,000 with an escalation clause stating that you will go higher than any other bona fide offer by $5,000 with a cap of $650,000. Follow me? So if another buyer comes along and offers $625,000 for the home, your offer would automatically bump up to $630,000 for the home. If another buyer comes along and offered $660,000, your offer would go up to $650,000 because that's the cap that you put in place with the escalation clause. The seller would then need to decide if there were other terms that make either offer more attractive. The usefulness of an escalation clause is clear if you purchase homes in an area where multiple offers are common. One of the buyer's main frustrations is not knowing what it will take to get the home they want. The escalation clause will help a buyer put their best offer on the table while also feeling that they didn't necessarily overpay for the property. So make sure the escalator is used properly. One of the biggest mistakes I've seen real estate agents making with escalation clauses is making the escalator too low. And I have seen that in my own experience. For example, I often see the escalator being $1,000. Trust me when I tell you $1,000 isn't going to motivate a seller to accept an offer if other terms in a competing offer are better. Excuse me. Depending on the price range of the home, the escalator should be $5,000 or more. There needs to be a motivation on the seller's part to accept the other offer or to accept an offer. Walking away from an extra $5,000 is different than walking away from $1,000, especially when other things in a different offer are more attractive. So keep in mind that an escalation clause only deals with the price. Homebuyers need to keep in mind that an escalation clause is only one tool in their quest to be the winning bidder. There are other terms that could be very important to the seller as well. It is essential to have your buyer's agent find out what would make the seller happy. Are there any other items that might sway the buyer's decision or play into the seller's decision to choose one offer over another? For example, if the appraisal could be an issue due to a significant bump in the price, a seller may want an appraisal waiver or, at the very least, an appraisal gap clause. So the seller might also have a very specific closing date in mind that's important. So don't forget that being the highest bidder might not get you the house. And we've seen that in our own experience many, many times. It's not always about price. But in a heated seller's market, the mindset of the buyer will be to win at all costs, especially when they have lost out on other houses. Be prepared for buyers to do unconventional things, such as waiving their home inspections or providing those appraisal gap assurances. So, for example, if the home is sells for 650 and the appraisal comes in at 630, there's a $20,000 gap there. That might be something your buyer would be willing to cover. That would be an appraisal gap guarantee. So, but enough about that. That is, in a nutshell, an escalation clause and how it might be used in a real estate contract. Thought that was useful. So, hope you do too. Take care.